I've fallen for it. I've fallen for the spectacle, for the amusement, for the trap that is American political theater. These guys, Josh Hawley, Chip Roy, Matt Gaetz, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, all of these guys, they said all the right things. Yes, this is the thing that people are upset about. These are the things that people want to have changed. This guy that Josh Hawley's grilling over the Minnesota fraud, AG of Minnesota, I guess. Whatever that means these days. What's going to happen from this? We already know the answer. Nothing. The angrier they get in these hearings, the more verbose, the more brutal that the beat down of words are in that room, the less amount of action you can expect to see from given administration. And that has been the case every single time. They did the same thing with Mark Zuckerberg about a decade ago. Does anybody remember that? And again, 5 years ago. Did anything come out of that? No. It's good that the American people have an outlet, a vindication verbally from our places of leadership. I am not undercutting the value of that. That's what this channel is about. But I don't think that's what our public officials should be tasked with, nor should it be their only duty. Where's the follow through on this stuff? Yesterday, I watched as our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, got up and said, in the middle of a hearing about the island files, why are we even talking about this? The DOW is over 50,000. And this is where we are at. Now they're saying the loud part out loud. The part that they're thinking out loud in their brain, they're saying out loud. All of the people that have money and therefore power, we have appeased them. We have exploded your stock portfolio. So this matter of law and justice over the worst crimes that you can possibly imagine have been committed. And we may or may not have all parties involved, but we're supposed to be appeased because the stock market's doing good. Line go up, which is laughable for a number of reasons. The first thing that comes to mind is line go up for stock market does not equal wallet go up for average person. Most people aren't playing in the speculative markets and are not benefiting from this, even those whom are. And secondly, and most importantly, does that negate the U.S. government's responsibility to uphold the law? Especially when it comes to the most evil, heinous acts that can be committed by man against man. And we're just supposed to be okay with that because you paid us off, which you didn't, by the way. So if we're supposed to shut up because you bribed us all, you forgot to do the bribery part on everybody else. Where's my $1 million check, Uncle Sam? You owe us at least that much. And then, you know, the irony of this is, I'm saying this tongue in cheek, but I guarantee you that if the U.S. government cut everybody a check for $1 million, people would shut the fuck up real quick about the island folks. They'd be too busy living their best life, the life they should have been living before you fucked our currency into the dirt. So Pam Bondi actually struck a public nerve in the worst possible way. The optics of this is terrible from every perceivable angle. And seeing people defend this woman and the administration is disgusting on a level that I wasn't expecting to witness in my lifetime. We paid you nothing. Why don't you accept our payment and shut the fuck up about the heinous crimes that were committed basically in broad daylight now? And we caught the one guy that was doing all the crimes, except the woman that went away because she had the list of clients, but there are no clients. It was just him. This is bullshit. Everybody sees that it's bullshit. This is rules for thee, not for me. These are the billionaires. They are protected. Shut up, pay taxes, die in our foreign conflicts. And they wonder why people aren't signing up for the military anymore. And they wonder why public scrutiny is up at record numbers for this administration. They wonder why Trump's poll numbers are tanking. Like that matters. Are you running a third, fourth time? That is the implication here. We have bribed all the people that matter. The people with power, the ones with land, the ones with corporations, the ones that are part of multinational, non-governmental organizations. We bribed all of those folks because we blew up their stock portfolios. Hooray! Good times are here again. We win. You lose, but we win. So all of the important people, shut the fuck up. Everyone else, la 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 la, na 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 na. We can't hear you. And we're going to pretend like we can't hear you, even if we do hear you. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. We got away with it. And you voted for this. This is what you voted for. Gaslighting all the way. I wonder. I'm actually wondering, is Pam Bondi the underdog here? Did she intentionally point this thing out to draw public scrutiny to this exact thing? Because if she did, if this is some 5D chess move on her part, intentionally calling out her own office to brick the Republican ticket, chef's kiss. Brilliant. I could not think of a better negative PR campaign than what I have watched unfold in the last 48 hours. And then in the broader context of Trump saying he's going to protect current asset holders and not let housing prices drop. Mwah! You just handed the blues the vote. Now, all these people, Republicans, the forever Trumpers, who could never see or say anything this administration does wrong, all across the Twitterverse, defending in various different ways. Well, they weren't underage when they were, words I can't use on the internet, when crimes were committed against them. We can't, it wasn't that bad because they were actually of age when it happened. So this is things that have actually flown out of people's brains onto their devices and into the wider web, into public discourse, unpopular opinions that I know I should probably not share. These folks are doing it openly and in scale. Paid accounts. Paid accounts. Paid for their opinions. Paid because they are influencers, influencing us. Never mind the ramifications of said influence. I definitely don't accept it from our elected officials and people those elected officials put into places of power, ostensibly for the betterment of America's life, for Americans' lives. Do you feel protected by this administration? I don't. In fact, I feel like I'm watching a, a martial law state being erected around me. This is Obama 2.0 with a red flag waving over it. A lot of talk about the the anti stuff. We need to outlaw discourse against a certain nation in the Middle East. That's anti speech, which they are trying to criminalize. You're going to turn me into one of those anti people. Don't want to be. You're going to turn a lot of folks into it. Then it's going to be a real problem. It's almost like you're trying to gin it up on purpose, where it wasn't prevalent before. I had my reservations about Pam Bondi. Initially, I understand she had some weird dealings with the pharmaceutical industry before, where I felt like it could go either way. She might be the hatchet woman of this administration, get in there, get stuff done. People aren't going to like her, but ultimately she'll leave a legacy that we could at least benefit from. I don't see that being the outcome here. And I'm not saying everything she's done has been bad either. Nor am I saying that about the Trump administration. But the changes to domestic and foreign policy that the American people voted for are not happening. We needed to cut government spending. You let DOW do its thing for a handful of months, and then yoink, USAID. That was the trip mine. Boom. Okay, you're done, Elon. Go home. And all the savings that we made from all the BS projects that we cut from USAID and other programs were undone by the increases to the budget in other areas. And we're still money printing. We're still deficit spending. Coming up on $40 trillion in debt. What have the American people benefited from that increase in debt? Nothing. Line go up. Some people got richer. A lot of other people did not. And in this zero-sum game that has been concocted to be a zero-sum game that is fiat fractional reserve money, when the powerful borrow money, they are borrowing against your dollar. You don't have the lines of credit these people do. You definitely don't have the ability to create money like the federal government does. So this is not a game designed for you to win. The way our banking system is set up is designed to rob from people who have not been vetted for the better life. It is social credit. We just don't call it that. But that's how it functions. If you're worried about America turning into China, I'd worry more about America turning into America in its current iteration. If we cannot fix the ship economically, it's not going to matter. You already have so-called Republicans like Judge Jeannie talking about, we need to do something about these guns. When the Republicans start talking like the Democrats on gun control, danger Will Robinson. And they just passed a bill to put kill switches in people's cars. Here comes geofencing. You ready, folks? Is your body ready for it? I'm willing to bet it's going to coincide with a drastic reduction in the price of new vehicles. Magically. as long as you get one of these tracking devices in it, or if they don't make it mandatory off the bat. Maybe it'll be like the Obama phones. Sign up for your free Trump car. Comes with a free premium subscription to Trump Social, Trump RX, and whatever else, and might have some microphones in there that you can use for cool stuff, like reporting you to the NSA if you say something bad about the administration. And I'm sure the police state powers that are being erected as we speak are not going to be turned around and used against Republicans when we get the blue team in there next go around, because the Republicans are doing a bang up job of screwing this country into the dirt, basically guaranteeing we're going to see a blue wave in 3 years, and probably going to get steamrolled in the midterms that these so-called right-winger influence types cannot shut the fuck up about. Midterms. How about holding people accountable that are already in office to the things they said they were going to do, to the jobs, the duties that they have currently? Can we multitask? Failing to call out your own party's failures is not going to look good in the polls either. So you're not going to sweep this debacle under the rug. It's not going to happen this time. It ain't happening. Read the fucking room. Elon Musk. Does Elon Musk listen to the Internet Complaint Department? There's a part of me that really looks up to this guy, and I think there could be the potential, anyways, for this guy to really change this country in a good way. Still hasn't. Hasn't completely lost my faith yet. I'm not saying I like everything that he does or says, but Elon, you still have a chance to right the ship. I know they didn't let you do it with Doge, but you can do it in your own private capacity. Taking over X, or taking over Twitter, turning it into X was a good step. You need to bring the thumbs down button back. I know it's a big ask. UI is going to take forever, I'm sure. It's not like they already had it before. Oh, yeah, that's right, they did, and they took it away because people's feelings got hurt. Bring it back. Because there are folks out there that got some big fucking heads that think their opinions are way more popular than they actually are in reality. Maybe I'm one of them. I don't know. Another thing is, stop capping people's interactions with one another based on these bullshit metrics, because it's apparent we're all getting curated feeds. Showing people only the stuff that they like, that should be an option, not mandatory. It's hard for me to find creative stuff anymore, too, as a result of this curation. I'd like to see something new, but how do I find that when everything that's being shown to me is what the algorithm thinks I want to see, because it's based off of things I've already seen? Can we get an organic version of this, please, like we used to have in the olden days, so we can get a sense? Maybe you could just make it an American thing, so we can get a sense of where things are at socially on this social platform, ostensibly. Because right now we're all living in these curated little star chamber bubbles. And I am aware that I'm in one of those as well. So a lot of my feed is full of people who are either saying the same things I am or are reacting to people on the opposite end. And I don't really care about those folks. A lot of them I'm blocking and muting because they're mouthpieces. They have proven themselves demonstrably to be bought and paid for because they are standing up for criminals. They don't see anything wrong with the screed that we were fed by Pam Bondi. That was some like Mad World stuff. Cracked Magazine, The Onion, Idiocracy brought to life. Right on the screen, this is is it elected? Was she selected? I don't know how this works. But she got there somehow, intentionally. And I am telling you, based on the stuff that I've seen this administration focus on actually achieve, which is not much, she has always been this creature that we got to see a little bit behind the mask yesterday and today. This is not new. She did not suddenly become compromised, allegedly. Sometimes I get on here and I don't realize what's been brewing up. So I turn on the microphone. Tucker Carlson had Ron Paul on. And he said something that really got under my skin at the very beginning of his monologue before he actually interviewed Mr. Paul. He said Ron Paul didn't have this large groundswell of support around him. He was never going to become president. Really? No, Ron Paul was the canary in the coal mine for Donald Trump's entry in 2015. Ron Paul was a warning sign to the people destroying this country. It's very simple what America needs to do. We need to get back to the fundamentals, that Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the limitations that were supposed to be placed on the federal government, our individual rights as citizens. And one of the most important parts in that Bill of Rights, in the Constitution, was printing and coining money, measures and weights. That's supposed to go to the Congress. It's not something that was ever supposed to be redelegated to a private institution. This is where all of our economic problems originate. When we turned over to fractional reserve banking, we opened up the sluice gates for all of these problems. Companies can give themselves largesse if they understand how to play the economic game. And then we got Citizens United, infinite money cheat code for politicians that have no morals, no scruples. And before you know it, that's all we got in office now. And some of these guys have been in office since before I was born. The rot goes deep. And we can't even enforce existing laws on some of these people because they have too much money that they gave themselves through the rigged system. Creates a problem. This wealth vacuum, hoovering up all the money to the top, where asset holders just become asset holders thrice over in an infinite loop, making everything more difficult for everybody beneath to try and rise up to even the same level their parents were at 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. It erodes the power base at the bottom. And we wind up with nobility class lording over us and can't do anything about it. What power do you or I have over what's happening at that hearing? What are the options left on the table when voting fails in this manner? Spectacularly, out in the open, right in your face. What options do you have? What is the avenue for the redress of grievances? And that's a long list of very nasty words I can't use list of grievances. What are you supposed to do? I might do another podcast later covering this stuff. I don't. Maybe I'm just done. America's cooked. It's game over. We're not fixing this at the polls. We tried that.